G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today we are here to, of course, review AFL Fantasy Round 12. And all things considered, looking at a couple of scores over the week from other people, I think I did okay. I got 1,769 for the round. That was ranked at 11,000. So look, not great, but I'll take it. I don't think it was that bad over the week. Now, a couple of good performers I want to point out first. Joe Fonte had to come into the team, scored 86, did really well, love that. Nick Dacos did nicely with a 128. Will Ashcroft, I liked his performance with the 102. Now, Luke Jackson, I did like as well with the 116, but of course, we have to mention the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the hog himself, Bailey Smith, 147 as captain. I don't know what he was talking about with that injury. He was absolutely lying. He was brilliant against the West Coast Eagles. 147, absolutely carried my team. Scored nearly a quarter of my score in the end. I'm just looking at it now. Absolutely insane from Bailey Smith. Did really nicely. So thank God for him. Increased my score, got my rank up. I think it actually went up this week, so I will take that, definitely. But, of course, there were some lower lights. Bice and Cleary. Oh my God, this is so bad. Considering Bice was subbed out at halftime for Cleary and they combined for 17 points in a game, it's not very good at all, is it? So that's going to be one of my trades this week. We'll get to them in a moment. Luke Trainer, the last few weeks, he's just fallen off a cliff, hasn't he? Really hasn't been able to perform well. Only got 31. He's one I definitely have to look to get rid of. Dawson didn't really have a good performance against the Swans. 86 was tagged by James Jordan. Didn't really have a lot of impact, but I don't think he'll care. The Crows did brilliantly in that game. Jack Bowie, 65. Would have liked a little bit more improvement there, but the conditions up there in the NT were pretty tough. Zach Merritt with 94. Did improve his score in the final term, but probably could have done a bit better. Clayton Oliver, he's so up and down at the moment. He is one I have to try and get rid of. Isaac Rankin, 63. Would have thought a little bit better from him in such a dominant performance for his team. And Chad Warner, I don't know. I mean, he wasn't that great against the Crows. I think the Swans have a little bit more problems than Chad Warner at the moment, but wasn't really great, only 74. Now, looking at my brother's team over the week, he had a worse performance than me, and I am catching him very, very slowly. So, over the week, he scored 1,696. He had a couple of good performances. We have to mention them first. First of all, he had Naz Milera with the 117, Ash with the 112. Jordan Clark was the top scorer in the whole game in the Gold Coast with the 120. He had Bailey Smith with the captain as well. So he has picked some pretty decent performances so far. And he also had Brian Myers, who was massive in his performance. So you'd be looking at it and be thinking, how the hell did he drop off so bad? I obviously had Rowan Marshall, so that did help with him having Cherry out. He had 4 players out in his team. So that means that he took every single score that was on his team. So he had the Boxall score of 30, the Angus Clark score of 42. He had the score of 8 for Cleary, and he had the scores of players like Levi Ashcroft and Toby Green. So looking at his team right now, I don't want to be mean, but he's kind of messed it up a bit. Toby Green was an interesting call, I'll give him that. Rory Laird came in for 1 week, then was rested against the Swans. Maybe they realised that the Swans were going to suck so bad. But yeah, he had a pretty poor week, I would say. So overall, and Christian Petrarca, not really great as well with the 75 points. So let's get to the trades though, because this is when we need to make our moves. So my trades, first of all, this week I've got rid of Cleary for McLaughlin, Bice for Chera, and I've got rid of Xavier Lindsay for Angus Sheldrick. That McLaughlin trade will definitely change depending on who comes in this week. I've got rid of Cleary because he's continuing to plummet in price now, especially with a score of 8. He is just going to continue to go down. So I want to try and get rid of some Swans players going into the round 14 bye because I do have a few of them. So that's why Cleary is gone. And I don't know if he'll even play next week, to be fair. I don't know if the Swans will try and mix around the list. So we'll just have to wait and see on that. Riley Bice, he's been a good servant. I'll give him that. He's done really well to stay in the team for so long for the Swans. I don't know why they subbed him out at halftime. The Swans were trying to get some run and gun into that game when they were just fucking shit. I don't know why they didn't sub out one of the tools, but they subbed out Riley Bice, so, whatever. And I've picked up Adam Chera. Now, a couple of reasons for that. First of all, his price is pretty decent at the moment. He's been pretty consistent throughout the year. He's scored around 90 to 110 most weeks. I think he scored under 90 maybe twice this year. And plus, he's obviously already had his bye. So I couldn't afford anyone like a top-end player of the Bulldogs like Richards, Liberatore, Bontempelli. Couldn't afford any of them, or even Matt Kennedy. So I've decided to go with Adam Chera in that middle range. I trust him a bit more to accumulate disposals. And plus, the Blues fixture in the next month really opens up. They've got Essendon, West Coast, North Melbourne, and Port Adelaide. I mean, almost the worst 4 teams in the competition right now. And they played the Swans a couple of weeks ago, and he scored 121. So I think he could definitely accumulate some points, and I think it's a pretty safe choice with Adam Chera. And then finally, Angus Sheldrick. It's a pretty obvious one. He's been one of the few good performers for the Swans the last month or so. He's been averaging in that 80 mark over the last 3 or 4 weeks. And he's actually lower in price than Xavier Lindsay, who he's scoring much more than Sheldrick. So safe bet going with Angus Sheldrick here. I think a lot of people this week are making that move, trying to get rid of that midfield 8th spot, changing it to Angus Sheldrick because he looks like he's going to be able to get some more price in his... he's got more price to go to burn, I would say. But let's look at my brother's trades for this week. So he has gone with Zach Reid out for Tom Stewart. He's got rid of Boxall for McCarthy. That was the number 1 pick in the mid-season draft. And he's got rid of Cleary for Sheldrick, like I mentioned. So first of all, he did tell me this, that he went for Tom Stewart because he thinks he's going to try and get in early. Now, he's pretty well bottomed out now, Tom Stewart. It's going to be interesting. I have been teetering around that trade for a while now. He always seems to be at this point of the season where he gets to that middle part of the year and his price is just completely bottomed out. Everyone picks him up and he just skyrockets. So he's trying to get in a bit early here on this trade. I don't necessarily mind it. The fact that he's cheaper than Zach Reid, who's injured and will be missing a few weeks now, I don't mind the trade, but it's a bit of a ballsy one, so we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Boxall out for McCarthy, purely for money. You can gather that. And then Cleary going up to Sheldrick. I don't mind that trade because Sheldrick's definitely got a lot of cash to burn. I mean, his break-even would have to be pretty low already, considering the last 3 weeks he's got into the 80s. So don't mind those moves at all. But finally, guys, let's take a look at the AFL fantasy ladder for the channel. So this week, the Cheetah Cub still leads everyone. He's got 1,835. Leads pretty comfortably. Leads by 210 points. On second spot, Lenny. Len never pretends. I don't mind the name, bro. Gonna give you that. What a score from him over the week. Had players out in a bye week. Scored 1,932. That is absolutely brilliant from him. Well done to him. Jumped from, I think, 5th into second spot. So well done for a big jump there. Pubfeg was still sitting in 3rd spot. Don't mind his decision. I've seen him in a couple of leagues across like content creators. So he seems to be pretty high up in most leagues. So good job from him, Lucas. He's been around the mark all year. But let's move to my brother and me. So I'm closing the gap slowly on my brother. As you can see last week, I really got close to him. I'm 3 positions behind him, which seems like a bit. But the points difference between him, the Vern Dogs, Hayden Atkins, and me is what? 31 points. Holy shit, we're in a log jam in that 40 spot. So I would like to finish in the top half. I think there's 89 people. So I think with a couple of big moves, I'm going to keep one to my chest, that a trade that I'm going to be looking at next week. It's going to be a bit of a ballsy one, but if it pays off for a couple of weeks, I think it could really skyrocket my team into the top at least 30 at the end of the year. If I can get that trade done and that player performs really well, I think that one's going to be a real trendsetter, if you could put it that way. But nonetheless, that's pretty much all we've got for the review for AFL Fantasy this week, guys. Make sure to let me know down below what trades you're making, how your team is looking. Hopefully it's looking better than mine, but for now, we'll catch you all on the next one.